morning and welcome back to L&D Design. My name is Lene and I am half of L&D Design along with my husband David. Please excuse my paint shirt today. We are painting. So I have noticed that I need paint clothes and regular clothes. Because when I try to paint my regular clothes, they become paint clothes and then I have to go shopping again, which is not a problem except for my wallet doesn't like it. What are we going to be doing today? We are making a reversible sign. This is more like of a mini makeover and a repurposed DIY instead of a from scratch DIY. Eventually, I do want to make a sign from scratch, but right now I'm at home. I'm working with what I have. So I have this sign my aunt gave me about a year ago. It's meant to hang on the wall. It's really tall and it says family. Well, I decided I didn't want it in my home. I wanted it on our front porch. So I put it out there, and through the weather, it's held up okay, but it's definitely seen better days. It's warped, it has some chipping on it, but I'm gonna go ahead and use it because like I said, it's what I have on hand. I have all of the items I'm gonna be using already on hand, and basically it's gonna be a free project for me. What I wanna do is make this sign a reversible sign. On the front, it says family, and I love that. But I also want a welcome sign for our front porch. So I'm simply going to DIY the back of this sign and turn it into a reversible sign. So if you're interested to see how I do this mini makeover and make this reversible sign, then just keep watching. Here's our sign. This sign was given to me by my aunt. I think she had bought it and realized it was too big for her space, so she just gave it to me. Ignore my garage door, please. We have had it outside on our front porch, and I'm guessing it's more of kind of like an indoor sign because it has seen some wear and tear. It's definitely buckling. You can definitely tell that it is not straight anymore. However, I do like leaning the sign up against the front porch. I think it looks really nice. So my plan is to just kind of clean up this front part, clean up the sides, and then on the back, flip it around here. The back is plain, and there's like a spot where you can hang it. So my plan is on the back to paint probably welcome. So to paint it and then probably use my Cricut to do welcome. So it's kind of like a reversible. So as you can see, we definitely have some bowing going on. It's not completely straight, but like I said, just kind of repurposing it for now until I figure out exactly what kind of sign I want to make. So basically I just wiped down the front with some crud cutter, and I took that sticker off. I tried to wipe down all of this, but this is like a particle board situation and it was just like soaking up the cleaner. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try and use a light sandpaper and see if I can get some of that stuff off. And then I'm also going to take some needle nose pliers and I'm just going to try and pull out these staples here. So I had some trouble getting this one out, and then these are pretty in there. So I think what I'm going to do is just do something here where I cover up the top. So now I'm just going to take my 600 grit sandpaper. It's just a scrap piece that we already used. And I'm just going to see if I can give it a light sand and also hit those edges a little bit. So we are ready to paint. The sandpaper didn't do too much, so I just kind of gave up on that. So I've just taken some of this folk art chalk paint in Parisian gray. The bottle has seen better days. I just watered it down a little bit so it's easier to work with, especially with this chalk paint brush. I don't exactly love it, and sometimes it struggles with a thicker formula. I have this sitting here because this is a tip that I use all the time when I paint. I save my spray paint caps and I put them underneath my projects so it lifts my project up off of whatever surface I'm painting. This works really great with spray paint as well. You just don't get all of that puddling. If it were to be sitting directly on your surface, sometimes you'll get puddling and build up as like paint drips or it dries and you can't really get the full edge and everything. So I always save these. I have a ton of these laying around so I can just prop up my projects. So we're going to go ahead and get started. sign is ready and painted. I added a little bit of distressing. I got kind of carried away in some spots. I took the Waverly chalk paint in ink. Sorry if you can see. Those are all dust particles flying around because I just dusted it off. So I apologize for that. It looks crazy. But I took the Waverly chalk paint in ink and just a big chip brush and tried to dry brush on. But this material, like, I don't want to say it soaks up the paint, but like once you set the paint down, that's where the paint is, and it doesn't really blend very well and doesn't move around very well. So I had a hard time with that. So I went back in with the Parisian gray and went over it with that same chip brush after kind of cleaning all the black off, and just tried to blend in as much as I could so that it looked kind of weather distressed, like weather distressed wood. That dust is driving me crazy. I'm so sorry. And then I went over it with 220 grit and then 400 grit just to kind of smooth it out a little bit and make it look a little more cohesive. So here's what we're looking like. We're gonna take this inside and then we're gonna start applying our vinyl. I'm gonna show a short clip of how I did the letters in the Cricut space. So here's a look at my Cricut design space. I basically measured my sign. It was like 47 or something like that. So I just went with 42 and I divided that by 7 because there's 7 letters in the word welcome. So I needed each of them to be about 6 inches tall. That would give me some wiggle room at the bottom and at the top so that I can add something to the top, and maybe I don't go all the way to the bottom so that you can see the word a little bit better from the street when people are driving by. So basically what I did, if I can get it to work, there it is, was I made my box like usual. My box is 6 inches tall, and I wasn't really worried about the width because I have 12 inches to work with on the width. So I just made sure that my box was 6 inches tall, and then I just fit all of my letters into that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print each one separately and put them on my sign separately so that I can save some vinyl and I'm not wasting all of this space. Okay, so we're back. I ran out of vinyl. So I have welcome with no E at the end, but we're going to figure it out. I'm not sure how, but we will. So I have everything right here, and I just kind of want to lay it out and see how it looks before I try to figure out what I'm going to do about that E. Also, my W, where is it? I accidentally cut off the bottom of it. So if I can find enough black vinyl, I will reprint this. If not, if I only have enough for the E, then I'm just going to kind of go with it. So like I said, we're working with what we have on hand. So here's what we have. The letters are a little bit bigger than I thought, so I'm not going to have any space at the bottom, but that's okay. It's going to cover up this sign really nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and use my transfer tape, and I'm going to transfer all of this on, and then I'm going to leave off the W until I can figure out what I'm going to do about that missing E. I almost wish I would have done some kind of wreath or something for the O, but didn't think about that until just right now. So I guess we'll see if I decide to come up with a plan for that or not. But here is what we're working with. Unfortunately, I can't show you me vinyling it on because I'm filming on my phone. And I don't yet have a stand for my phone. I need to order one. And I can't vinyl and hold at the same time. So we will be right back. We are done. Yay. I didn't fix the W. I had to scrounge up a piece of black vinyl for that E, so I just left the W as is, but I don't think that it really looks that bad. So I have all my vinyl on. I did try a wreath on the O, but I didn't like it. I didn't want to rip the O off, and I didn't like a wreath over top of it, so I just kind of scratched that idea. So now I have to figure out what I'm going to do at the top there to hide the hangers. But I think it looks really nice. So I've decided that I'm going to make a burlap bow for the top of my sign. And instead of hot gluing it onto my sign, I'm going to use super glue, and hopefully that will hold up a little bit more in the outside conditions. I'm going to take my ruler here, I just have a big piece of burlap, and my sign is about 12 inches wide. So I'm going to start my first roll, though, a little bit in so I don't have this part sticking out. Ooh, it sounds like it's going to storm. I can hear that outside. That is so loud. And then I'm just going to start rolling, keeping in mind that I'm trying to get as close as I can to the end of my ruler so that my sign covers most of, or I'm sorry, my bow covers most of the top of my sign. So I make sure that I have some good coverage on those holes for the hangers, and I don't have to see that. So I think that's going to be enough. And then I'm just going to take this end here and I'm going to tuck that end in. Actually, I think I might just flip that to the middle. That's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to make this one a little bit shorter and this one. So hopefully this kind of hides in the middle of my bow a little bit. So what I like to do when I'm doing the bows, hopefully you can see me, is I like to fold it in half. So I'm just going to fold in half, just like that. And then I take this part and I fold up. And then I do the same with the back. I grab it and I fold up so I kind of have that little pinch in the middle. And then I'm going to take my jute twine and attempt to tie this with one hand. We'll see how it goes. So I'm just going to make my loop. I'm going to turn it over just so I can get some leverage in there. And I'm just going to attempt to tie it. I'm not tying it super tight right now because I want to make sure I like my bow. I'm just tying it so it doesn't all unravel. So I'm going to take a look at my bow. And I think it's pretty cute. I can cut this off a little bit or tuck it in. But overall, I'm going to move my string over just a little bit. I'm pretty happy with the shape of my bow. So I'm going to flip it back over. I think one side may be a little bit thicker than the other, but you know what? That's okay. It's rustic farmhouse, right? I'm going to take my bow and flip it back over, and then I'm just going to tie this tighter so it stays nice and secure. And I like to do 2 or 3 knots. And then we can cut off this excess so you don't see that when we glue it to the top of our sign.